Hi, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about oddly specific book tropes. A few months ago, I started a note on my phone, and every time I read one of these, saw one of these, anything like that, I wrote it down. And not just like enemies to lovers or one bed, but like specific things that characters do. And today I went through them while I got ready. I also didn't talk through any of the makeup, but I will have everything down below if you're curious about any of the products I'm using. I also don't have a mirror. I'm just gonna use the viewfinder, so this might turn out like shit. Okay, this is a good example of what I mean by like more specific than your average trope. So the first one is one bed trope, but they fall asleep and then they wake up and they're like cuddling or like their limbs are tangled or whatever, and the one character wakes up and is trying to like extract themselves from the situation without waking the other person up, and they think they're getting away with it, but then the other person ends up waking up. I lied. I went and got this tiny mirror because I literally couldn't see anything. The next one is when two characters are having a moment, like they're about to kiss, and they both just sort of chicken out and decide not to, and then they both like start to go their separate ways and change their minds, and they're like fuck it, and they do it anyway. Does that make sense? I feel like some of these are hard to explain, but I was thinking like season 2 of Stranger Things. I won't spoil it, but if you know, you know. I'm looking ghostly when they know the little things about a character even though they shouldn't, like they're enemies or something, but they still know like what's their favorite drink, what music they like, or like what food they like. And it's even cuter when they don't even realize they're doing it, like it just comes to mind and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was paying this much attention to them. You know what it makes me think of? Well, everything makes me think of the Hunger Games, but when Peeta is like, oh, she shoots every squirrel in the eye, and she's like, he won his wrestling tournament and he can throw like a sack of flour over his shoulder, and she's like, I didn't even realize that I knew that about him. That's what I'm talking about. Single parent romances, period. Who's hitting me up? Single parent romances, period. I love them, but specifically when the kid is like sick or gets hurt or something, and the love interest that isn't the parent has to take care of them, and they get to have like their maternal paternal moment. It's so cute. Bonus points if the kid's in the hospital and they have to lie and pretend that they're like the mom or the stepmom or dad, whatever, to be able to get into the hospital to see them. When it's fake dating and they have to tell the story of how they met, and I feel like it's usually the male love interest that does this, but he starts to tell the story of how they met, and the female main character like thinks he's gonna bullshit, but then he ends up being honest, like, oh, I just thought she was so beautiful, or I just had to get to know her, whatever. And she's like, that doesn't feel like a lie. Like in season 2 of Bridgerton, which, can we talk about that? That is one of the best love stories I've ever seen on TV. I'm obsessed with them. Wait, as I was doing my makeup, I just realized that that's actually season 1, right? Yeah, because they're in front of the queen. Okay, you get the idea. I still think season 2 is superior. Dancing in the kitchen. Is there anything more romantic than that? I think grand gestures can be cute if they're done well, but for me, I love the little things. And to me, that is just so romantic and special, and it gets me every time.
Dance around the kitchen in the refrigerator light.
When he coaches a kid's sport, like a little league team or something. When they see each other like stripped down. Okay, bad choice of words. But when they see them like with their glasses on, like with makeup off, in their pajamas, things like that. Especially if the character is normally like always put together. Like the cornetto scene in Red, White, and Royal Blue, which, can you believe they didn't put in the movie? I know they released it as like a deleted scene, but who in their right mind would take that out? And also Henry's like fully dressed. I was so mad when I saw that. This one's very specific, but I've read everything you've ever written. It happens in an Emily Henry book, and it happens in an Allie Hazelwood book, and it just hits. It's so good. When it can fit into the story, incredible. When the love interest has to zip up the female main character's dress or unzip it. This one's also very specific. I just read it recently, but throughout the whole book, he keeps like putting his hand on the back of her neck. She's like, why do you always do that? And he says it's so he can feel her react to him. Bye. This one's so basic, but hear me out. Who did this to you? Who hurt you? I know it's basic, but like, be honest, it's gonna work on you every time. It's so good. Also a kind of basic one when it's fake dating or a marriage of convenience, but they call them like my girlfriend or my wife. Like, that's my wife you're talking to. When the main character says I'm fine and the love interest is like, no you're not. The next one is so important to me, and that is when authors actually let their characters flirt with each other, which you'd think would be obvious in romance books, but it's really not. Like, I want them to flirt, I want them to banter, I want them to be giving each other butterflies. I want butterflies. This is one thing specifically that I think Emily Henry does so well that really like sets her apart, especially in book lovers, is that she lets her characters flirt with each other. It's so much more fun, and if this was happening in real life and you were into somebody, you would flirt with them. We all know the like, oh moment, but specifically when it comes to a character discovering their sexuality, again, I'm thinking about Red, White, and Royal Blue. When am I not? Like when they have that like, I can't be gay, right? Right? Moment. It's so good. When one character is reading another character a book out loud. Again, have you ever heard something more romantic? I'm not putting a lip color on because honestly, I forgot to bring it over here and it's all the way across the room. I don't want to go get it. Last one is when they're both at a party, but they're on like opposite sides of the room and they make eye contact with each other and they have a moment, and like, even though they're in like this crowded room, they're only focused on each other. Okay, that was the last one. If you have any more of these, please comment them because I'm literally obsessed with them. And thank you so much for watching.